Hello, this is Joe. I'm going to read some more from the Talmud Jmmanuel. Explanation on Jmmanuel's genealogy. Jewish history is a chronicle cobbled together by scribblers and invented to a great extent, having neither rhyme nor reason. In other words, the whole thing is freely invented, practically 2/3, and has been assembled into a discordant chronicle, namely by 12 self-appointed prophets who moved into the desert and within 40 days wrote 240 books, which form the foundation stone for the second Torah. By the former term books, however, real books are not to be understood, but rather a few handwritten pages in each case. These were written down according to traditional and only orally handed down legends and folk tales. And that 400 years after the first Torah, which was destroyed by fire, but which was also only based on old orally handed down legends and folk tales. What is still to be said in this connection is that the Torah, the Pentateuch, and the Bible in no wise concern a testament, as is falsely maintained by the Christian world, but only a cobbled together pseudo-chronicle, which has nothing to do with a testament. Indeed, it does not concern an inheritance or a testament, because such is given only in the form of the Talmud Jmmanuel, the book I'm reading from right now. The Bible, with its supposed Jewish chronicle, is in fact nothing more than what the word's value states, namely a book, in which the so-called New Testament became slipped in by the Christians. Everything is held as such in the storage banks, without any doubt. 1. The matter surrounding Jmmanuel's father, Joseph, is that he was the son of a certain Jacob, whose genealogy traces back to Solomon, and David, as well as to Adam, and ultimately to the extraterrestrial Samyasa, where the later ancestors of Jmmanuel's father, Joseph, however, broke away from the traditional belief in God, which traces back to the Hebrews. Thus, they turned to the teaching of the prophets, to which also Jmmanuel's father Joseph had transferred himself, who was by trade a shipbuilder and carpenter in Tiberias. Jmmanuel's grandfather Jacob, and therefore also Jmmanuel's father Joseph, came from the Samyasa Adam line, which began about 13,500 years ago, as of 2011, with his begetting by the extraterrestrial Samyasa. Hence, also Jmmanuel's terrestrial genealogy traces back in the same wise, because the human being of earth, Joseph, recognized him as his own son, and also Maria was a terrestrial mother. This, even though Jmmanuel was begotten by the extraterrestrial Gabriel. With regard to Jmmanuel's spirit form, this was a reincarnation from the Nokodemion line, out of which the terrestrial Nokodemion prophet line formed, which is as follows. Nokodemion line of the prophets and proclaimers. The data are converted in accordance with the present-day calendar, but where the designations before Christ and Anno Domini, which find use with the Christian calendar, must be truthfully understood by before Jmmanuel and after Jmmanuel. Number 1, Enoch was born on the 3rd of February, 9308 before Jmmanuel, BC. He died on the 1st of January, 8942 before Jmmanuel, or BC. Number 2, Eliah, also known known as Elijah, was born on the 5th of February, 891 Jmmanuel, BC. Died 4 June 780 Jmmanuel, BC. He was born to Gilead in Tisbidia, lifted up by a spaceship and brought to Srinagar, Kashmir, today's name in India, on 7 April 842 Jmmanuel, BC. Number 3, Josiah or Isaiah was born on the 7th of February 772 Jmmanuel, BC. Died the 5th of May 690 Jmmanuel, BC. Born as son of Amos at Sidon. 4. Jeremiah was born on the 9th of February 662 Jmmanuel, BC. Died 3 September 580 Jmmanuel, BC. Born as son of the high priest Hilkias at Anatoth. Number 5, Jmmanuel, or also known as Emmanuel, was born on 3 February in the year 02 before Christ. Died on the 9th of May in the year 111 AD. Died in Srinagar, Kashmir, India, today's name. Number 6, Muhammad, or also known as Mohammed, was born on the 19th of February, 571 Jmmanuel, AD. Died 8th of June, 632 Jmmanuel, AD. Born at Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Number 7, quote-unquote Billy. He was given this name in the Middle East by an American when he was living there, when he was a young man. So his name is Billy Edward Albert Meier. He was born on the 3rd of February, 1937, in Jmmanuel, AD, and he's still living, in Hinterschmidt-Rudi, Switzerland. He was born in Niederflachs, 8180 Bulach, Canton of Zurich, Switzerland. He is the son of Julius Meier, shoemaker, born in Niederflachs, 8180 Bulach, Switzerland, and Bertha Meier, nee Svengeler, carpet weaver housewife, born in 8492 Eigetzville, Switzerland. Number 2, the fact is further, as the storage bank information makes it clear, that also Maria belonged to the same genealogy as her husband Joseph. So thus the young woman Maria, falsely designated as a virgin early on, was impregnated by the extraterrestrial Gabriel, from which Jmmanuel emerged. The whole thing was well thought out by the Ishwish, or JHWH, Ishwish, at that time, so that Emmanuel and his prophethood remained in the genealogy of Samyasa. Consequently, this experienced no change. The human beings of the Adam line, as close descendants of the extraterrestrials, still became very old. Consequently, as a rule, they also first begot descendants at a higher age, and up to Emmanuel's father Joseph, the later descendants of the Adam line were without belief and thus also did not belong to Judaism, as the falsified Christian teaching states, because they broke away from the belief in God. Their knowledge was based on the traditional teaching of the prophets, that is, the teaching of truth, teaching of spirit, teaching of life, which traces back to Nokodemion, and as this was also communicated by Samyasa and his guardian angels, also known as guardian overseers, messengers, Joseph and his forebears were, therefore, knowing ones and not believers. Consequently, one could, with a good conscience, designate them as, quote, without a confession of faith, unquote. This was also equally valid then for Jmmanuel, who was first taught in the teaching by his parents, Joseph and Maria, as well as later by his extraterrestrial procreational father, Gabriel, through whose help the young Jmmanuel then also reached India, but later came back. The celestial son Gabriel's father was, of course, also an extraterrestrial, whose name was Hilak, and who came from the Pleiadian system, which is about 85 light years beyond the known Pleiades stars, and therefore about 500 light years away from the Earth, in a dimension shifted a fraction of a second to our space-time configuration. Mother Maria was also not of the Jewish faith, also came from Tiberias, and was the daughter of a merchant family, not yet married to Joseph, but superficially in a relationship with him. She, after thorough and clarifying conversations with the extraterrestrial Gabriel, let herself be impregnated by him, which first made Joseph enraged when he learned of this, which is why he wanted to break the relationship with Maria. Gabriel, however, explained to him, Joseph, that the history of his genealogy, as well as the prophets of the Nokodemion line, but also the importance of the impregnation of Maria, after which he married the young woman Maria, and together they moved to Nazareth, where Joseph then ran a small carpentry. Number 3, the genealogy of Jmmanuel is also important to the extent, as is recognizable from this, that the start of his genealogy traces back to an extraterrestrial origin, namely in the wise that the extraterrestrial procreational father of Adam, thus Semyasa, was a former personality of Jmmanuel. Let me read that again. The genealogy of Jmmanuel is only important to the extent, as is recognizable from this, that the start of his genealogy traces back to an extraterrestrial origin, namely in the wise that the extraterrestrial procreational father of Adam, thus Semyasa, was a former personality of Jmmanuel. After Semyasa's death, there occurred several rebirths of his spirit form, into which, of course, also different personalities were integrated. In the personality of the cousin of the ringleader Semyasa, the former Semyasa, who begot Adam, was now Jmmanuel, who was created by the guardian angel celestial son Gabriel, who was resident in the Pleiadian system in his current rebirth of the spirit form as a new personality, Quetzal, and has reached the degree of an JHWH, so of an Ishwish. This topmost commander at that time, Semyasa, the current Quetzal, was the main ringleader of the celestial sons and was under the supreme command of the JHWH, or the Ishwish Eris. At that time, Eris rebuked the behavior of Semyasa, but nevertheless gave up a punishment when he, through the procreational father of Adam, Semyasa, with the spirit form from the Nokodemion line, the cousin of the ringleader, learned the truth that the whole ringleading arose from a specially made preview, through which he had fathomed the distant future, and he acted according to its facts. Consequently, Semyasa, the procreational father of Adam, as well as Semyasa, the high commander or ringleader of the celestial sons, were rehabilitated by the Ishwish Eris. But since the general celestial sons otherwise brought about terribleness on the earth, they were brought to a long-term fulfillment of guidelines with regard to newly learning the existing laws, in order to keep them from further acting against the laws and to preserve them from portentous deeds. Thank you for listening, and I will continue reading in another time. Have a great day. Salome.